Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Now today's going to be a very different topic because something very interesting happened last week. So as you know, or as you might not know, since last year there's been some awards. They are called the Kwacha Music Awards, where artists are, awards for artists and their arts, I guess. So now last year it happened. It was the first time it happened last year. And now this year they say that this is something they would like to see happen every year. Good, well and good, because we haven't had any awards so far because of, the fracas that happened. We had I think the Mosi Awards or something. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So here I am, I'm looking forward to these awards. The first person to actually post about the awards was Chef 187. And he says that he does not wish to participate in this year's Kwacha Music Award show, and he would like to thank everybody, blah, blah, blah. He gave a little speech. I'd like to thank everybody who votes for me and the people who vote for me in the future. Okay, Chefy. Okay. So now that got me curious. I'm like, why are you saying no to the award show? Like, why are you asking us to not even vote for you? Like, it's another thing to just be like, I will not make it. I will not be available on that day because I have some other thing planned, or I have a show. I will not be in the country or be in Dudu, So like, I cannot make it to the show. But to say to your fans to not vote for you, that got me curious. Then just a few seconds later, okay, maybe not seconds, but then here comes J-Rox. And he says, probably, I'm reading this from his Twitter. It's still there if you want to see it. This was like 3 days ago. This is a Sunday. I'm making this video on Sunday, so you calculate 3 days ago. He says, I will not be taking part in the Kwacha Awards until we are able to create a proper structure that will help the industry do better. So, I'm like, okay, what's going on? Then, bam! Mampi also says the same thing. Now, these are not upcoming artists. These are like already established, okay, maybe not established artists like that, but like they're well-known names in Z music. Now, these are 3 big artists who have said, we don't want to participate in this until you put up a proper structure. So now I am clinging onto the radio. I am waiting for this. What is going on? What is going on? Why are my people doing this? So I'm listening to Radio Phoenix, and there's Cleo, and oh my God, there's Cleo on the air with another guy, Mubanga. No, I don't know if it's Mubanga or not. I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name. And the reason why I remember Cleo is because she's the one who actually called J-Rox. No, first it was Roxy. See, because this story is so juicy, I'm even mixing it up. It was Roxy first. So Roxy calls, which is weird, Roxy calls J-Rox. And J-Rox says, these awards are just like so crazy because like they're putting artists who are not supposed to be in that category. Like, for example, J-Rox does dancehall, and he was put in the hip-hop category. And apparently last year, he was not even aware that he was nominated. So his fans had to call him and say, yo, you're nominated and we're voting for you. And so like, okay. And then J-Rox goes on to say on the radio, this is on air, guys, okay, 3 days ago. Apparently they didn't even give him like a Shingani certificate and on boy's mouth. So if you're confused if you do. And then he was like, so this year again, I don't know what category, how they're voting. We don't know who's in the committee. We don't know what's going on. Okay? So Iyashidio, Rox's show is over. Cleo comes on air, and she calls, first she called Mampi. Now this is where the story gets juicy, you guys. Okay, hold on. So Mampi comes on air and she basically says what J-Rock says. We're like, we don't know. Like, there's no structure in this thing. There's no structure in this thing. We don't know what's going on. So I don't want to be a part of it. And apparently, Mampi was talking to the owner of like the organizer, the big guy, you know, Mr. Kabuse, the owner of Sun FM, the owner of the one who came up with this whole Kwacha Music Awards. And the messages that they were exchanging, which I have, by the way, Mampi told Mr. Kabuse in the messages, and this she said on air. Okay, so this is on air. She says, I spoke to him and I told him, could you please remove my name from the nominations because I do not want to be a part of it. So Mr. Kabuse goes, yo, I don't have the power to do that. So if it's me, you have to write to the radio stations and ask them to stop playing your music on air because it's the people on those radio stations that request your music and hence you find yourself on the Kwacha Music Awards because the people vote. We take the ones that the people are like, for example, the countdown, you know, the top 10s, the top 5s, the top 20s. So when they take all those people, they're like, okay, this is the most happening song. So Mampi's like, this is bullshit. This is some bullshit. What do you mean I should stop radio station? I should write to radio stations to stop playing. You're threatening me. It was like, anyway, so yeah, shit. Mampi, if I'm getting shit fire, I don't want to take my name out of it. Talk my name out of it. I don't want it. So a few minutes later, the owner of the station, Sun FM, which is in charge of this, Mr. Kabuse, calls Radio Phoenix. And it's like, yo, what's up? So let me give you my side of the story. Okay. So I am there's a committee which sits down and discusses all this stuff. I am not a one-man army. I cannot, if it were up to me, his words of mine, if it were up to me, I would have removed her name and the others' names immediately, you know, but to avoid all this drama. But I don't have the power to do that. There is a committee. So we're going to sit down next time and we're going to talk about this and we're going to discuss it. But I told them to say, because I'm not doing this by myself, I'm doing this in conjunction with other radio stations. So they have to say to the other radio stations not to play when people request, because you cannot just pick somebody up who, well, this is me now. You can just take somebody up and be like, okay, you're going to be there. But the people vote. And when the people vote, the people have spoken. So, yeah, this is still ongoing thing. So that's how Mr. Kabuse was talking. But he did not finish what he wanted to say because, of course, time ran out. It's a radio station. You have time. So he was cut off. So I was actually hoping that he would actually go on his own radio station and just like, since it's his own radio station, he can basically say whatever and he doesn't need to be cut. I was actually waiting for an official statement from Sun FM and from the head of the Kwacha Music Awards. So this is where the story gets interesting. So these are like, excuse this, I'm making a video here. So, no, you guys. Now you find when a B-Flow posted and was like, yeah, I've been nominated again for okay, B-Flow is another big artist, and so I'm like, okay, so number what's going on? Like B-Flow is cool with it, but then Mampi, J-Rox, and Chef, you know, Chef owns the Coppola. Well, not really, but whatever, he's a big name in the Coppola and in general. You know, Chef, Mampi, J-Rox, they're like stepping out, and B-Flow is still there. Like, what is going on? So I did my own investigation. Apparently, B-Flow is part of the committee. Allegedly. So it's allegedly. So maybe this is why these guys are like cool with their awards and they're not. Because I was asking, I was like, okay, B-Flow is part of this. Like, why isn't he like speaking up for his fellow artists? Why isn't he trying to explain to his fellow artists, like, you guys, And why didn't they talk about this outside social media? So apparently this stuff has been going on inside. And I'm going to find out, you guys. I'm going to find out just for you. This is a story which is building. I'm yet to see. Katwish, if they're going to be there. So, Benas Banda. I'm sure you know Benas Banda from that show. That is no longer a part of. I've forgotten it. Sorry, Benas. I forgot it. He was in a show. It was a Z Top 10. Z Top 10. I've forgotten. Anyway, this is what Dennis Manda says. He says, the ZMAs came, you complained and wanted more money. Star FM comes through with the only award show to help the industry. You still complain because it's a shithole award show. Awards are important. Use them not for money, but for brand prestige and to increase the booking fee. This is what Dennis wrote. So, I don't know how the awards are like. Katwish. You know, this is an ongoing story, and I'm going to keep you updated, you guys, the ones who are interested in it. I'm going to keep you updated on how far the show goes and what happens next and what's been going on behind the scenes, because, you know, I'm a snoop around. So, Katwish. So now, like, I can also understand why, because the artist complained, I'm out sure I did it. You also be at it. And then somebody else comes up with a show, but then there's this. So I don't know what kind of structure these guys are talking about, because last year I voted, I participated in the Kwacha Music Awards. I voted. You could vote for whoever you wanted. Like, you could actually participate and vote yourself. You could vote. So I think that's a structure in itself. But Katwish, but then that Makitu's album just came out like 4 or 5 weeks ago, and it's already on like album of the year. They're like, how, So I'm yet to hear from ZMA itself and the head of Sun FM and the cooperating partners, and to see how this story goes. So that's your gossip for this week, you guys. We'll go back to our normal programming soon, but you should be updated on what's going on. So that's what's happening. What do you think? Do you think that artists are being fair? And Mampi Chef and Rox to say we don't want to be a part of this until you put up a correct structure? Do you think, because some people are saying maybe it's because of money, like they're able to or you think Dennis is right, they just think this is a shithole thingy? Because also Maiko Zulu commented on my status when I put it up on, when I was, when this was happening, I was busy updating on Facebook, and Maiko Zulu mentioned something about, like, leave these to my words to the, he was more or less like, kind of way, my interpretation. You can go look through what he said on my Facebook. And I asked him, I was like, is ZAM going to look into this? I don't know. Because if ZAM looks into this, B-Flow is part of ZAM. So complicated. Isn't this like a movie, you guys? Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. So if you want to know what happens next, or should I make another video when something else comes up? Should I tell you what's going on? Should I tell you what will happen? Should I tell you? Or do I just go back to my normal programming of listening to great Zambian music and giving my opinion on it? Thank you for watching. Remember, subscribe, share, love it, and I will see you